Welcome back to the show, everybody. Yo, got some pro wrestling to talk about, man, and I ain't gonna hold your ears for long, but yo, all elite wrestling's double or nothing. Let's just start with this. This is probably one of the greatest pay per view events that I have ever seen in my wrestling life because of all the symbolism, all the great ring work, everything that you want a wrestling thing to be. Double or nothing was it. Like, all in last year was amazing. And it's like, and the thing was that it came out of nowhere and they did this thing, and it's like, yo, this is the start of something. And then when you heard at the beginning of the year that All Elite Wrestling was going to become a thing, and it's like, you had the people then sitting up here like, yo, this is going to be what it's going to be, that finally WWE going to get taken down a peg. And I'm like, after tonight, and comparing like what WWE got going on in their corner, I'm like, I have to agree with some of the internet because I've been reading a lot since I've watched Double or Nothing and things like that to hear what people, what folks who care about this have to say, and it's like, yo, it do really when you think about it for a second, like WWE is in that same mindset that WCW was in as it was tanking to the ground. This mindset of we can do no wrong and that no one can stop us. But yo, pride is hardy for the fall, yo, and it's like WWE got a lot of work to do because I'm like, yo, while Triple H did take that shot at the Hall of Fame, though, Cody with that sledgehammer. This John Moxley out of nowhere. This the whole encompassing nature of that pay per view. And most importantly, and the biggest, Nightmare versus Natural, Cody versus Dustin. Middle fingers to the haters. That's all I can really say. I'm like, I'm going to be the 90th million person to admit at the end of Cody versus Dustin, I had to turn my eye because as a wrestling fan, I understand what Dusty Rhodes has meant to generations of wrestlers and all the shit that he went through, because I had the thought in my head that for real that if Dusty didn't go through all that, there might not even be an All Elite Wrestling. If Cody didn't realize that the WWE wasn't gonna never do nothing with him, and in order for him to do what he had to do, he had to strike it out on his own, we might not be at this point right now. Is that when you really think about it, like on some real, is that you just got a lot of folks that felt because of what the WWE and how they pushing it feel. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I know, disenfranchised. And now that you have a true alternative, that you have this stage, not saying that the other wrestling products in the world don't provide that alternative. Because yo, if you want to, it's a whole bunch of UK wrestling you can watch. Hell, you can watch New Japan, which I suggest you do because it's some of the best wrestling in the damn business. But to know, and after watching all these interviews with Cody, with Chris Jericho, and understanding and knowing the direction of this company, as a wrestling fan, it feels good to know that yo, that All Elite got the fans in good hands. Because if we're gonna talk about the pay per view in general, up and down, a wonderful card. Like I said, Cody versus Dustin is probably one of the most emotional matches that I've ever watched in my life. It's like all these tributes to their father. The fans in the crowd brought an energy to that whole show. And when they were chanting Dusty, it was like, yo, you can hear, you can see, you can feel Dream in there. You could. I'm like, I'm tearing up right now thinking about that match because, again, like I said, knowing that I know my wrestling history and knowing that I've always had a respect for the road that Dusty Rhodes took to be where he is, where how Goldust ended up how he is, you know what I'm saying? With Dustin going through all that stuff and Cody being the prodigal son for real, and like going to where he went and being what he's been through to get to this All Elite Wrestling point. That was a crescendo, and then that ending floored my heart. That ending floored me. Like, yo, we went in here, we killed each other. Now let's do it like a family. Let's do what needs to be done. I'm like, yo, Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers murdered the game. Like murdered the game. And it's like, and there's some other matches that I can't think of. It's like, yo, it was wonderful to see Awesome Kong just come out in the middle of that women's match. And then to have one of the legends, the greatest of all time, Aja Kong, on the same card. Legit work. I'm like, my thing was, I'm going to say this because I don't want to sit up here and leave this out. For 5 whole seconds, when Chris Jericho was cutting that promo after he beat Kenny Omega, I was kind of pissed off because I wanted to see my boy Kenny fight Hangman. And even though, and it's like, and I sit up here and wonder if that would Hangman be in this position if Pac didn't have those issues. I'm not really sure. But then the boy Jon Moxley came out, and in the infinite wisdom of the universe, you've given me something that I never really thought of, other than some passing thought in my brain, of giving me something that I want more than to see Kenny with the belt. I want to see Kenny and Jon Moxley go at it. That even surpasses whatever they finna do with Chris Jericho and Hangman. I don't want to say I don't care, but my emotional investment is that boy Jon Moxley in the streets in AEW clowning. And then I heard his promo afterwards, like, yo, this is gonna get interesting. And like, and then you hear in the streets that there's stuff going on at WWE, that Vince is shook, that Renee in trouble now. And it's like, it's just stuff that you hear. I'm not trying to give it that much credence. Like, wrestlers getting in trouble for tweeting stuff and relating to Double or Nothing and All Elite. But you really have to wonder, is this flash in the pan stuff? Because, you know, you got the haters too, who diehard WWE fans, like, this gonna fail. But I don't know. If All In was like the sitting of the pot and putting the elements in there, Double or Nothing is cooking it and serving work. I have never been more amazed at a wrestling pay-per-view in a very long time. Like, the last time, like, I was this really amazed was when it was Okada Omega at Wrestle Kingdom, when it was the 6-star. I'm like, I watched that whole thing and was like floored by that one match. This is that then some. And I'm not sitting up here and I don't want to do the comparing pay-per-views from past to present, because Okada's a different wrestler now. Kenny Omega's a different wrestler. So to compare what it was they did then when they tore down the Tokyo Dome versus what all in and what in preceding what Double or Nothing has done to really set this stage for professional wrestling in the United States of America, KKK, that's on another level. It's like, I watched the Chris Jericho interview, and there is one important thing that I agree with what he said. A lot of people gonna give a shit about All Elite because Chris Jericho is there. Because he said it. He's like, people who know me, people who kind of remember me, and people who like, oh, Chris Jericho, that's the name that I recognize, the name that I remember. And then getting more eyes on the product. It's like, yo, it's like you sit up here and you realize that when you really think about it, Chris Jericho done about all he can do. And I'm like, and having that entrance of understanding the history of Chris Jericho, the person and the character, and for him coming out as All Evil, that's dope. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I want to see what this is. Is that, you know, Fight for the Fallen is immediately next, and it's a whole bunch of pay-per-views, and I'm trying to really figure out, like, what's my format going to be, but I know I didn't want to get into wrestling scores and who won and things like that, because it was a lot more important to focus on the symbolism of the future of professional wrestling, not only in America, but globally. It's like, yo, I'm like, before I got on the mic, I saw the promo this morning. Jon Moxley finna be in New Japan, bro. Come on now. The boy Jon Moxley gonna be in New Japan, fam. Like, did you ever think that was gonna happen? Nah. Because you probably thought he was just gonna be in the WWE machine as Dean Ambrose for his career. So he broke out the asylum and yo, the boy is clowning. And the future is bright. I'm like, I haven't wanted nothing more in my life when it comes to professional wrestling than to see Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley go tear each other apart. The promo game is going to be insane. That build-up is going to be nutso. Nuts. And you know that payoff for that. You know the payoff for the match is going to be good, because There are very few people better in the wrestling business than Kenny Omega, and I dare you to argue me different. And John Moxley, that boy done been a beast since CZW, so it's like business, man, business, dog. And I'm like, I'm interested to see the title picture. And before I forget, one more giant middle finger. Bret Hart presenting the title. I'm like, Bret Hart was just on WWE. The man just hit the Hall of Fame, bruh. He just hit the Hall of Fame, and now you present AEW titles. Craziness, man. Craziness. But yo, man, this was so good. I'm like, man, as a wrestling fan, all I can do is give it up, man. Now that card end to end, including that battle royal that was crazy. Glacier, bruh. Glacier, where he been at? Like he been a non-alternate costume in Mortal Kombat games for years. Glacier showed up in that battle royal, bruh. Glacier, dude. I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, I don't even care though, man. But I am definitely interested because I'm like, for real, honestly, and I'm gonna say this before I get out of here though. A lot of good was done tonight on all sorts of levels, including what's properly great of building these feuds. Like, yo, I'm like, I'm like, for real, like, I heard a little bit about MJF before that promo he cut on Bret Hart and Hangman. I'm interested to see what this guy got. I'm interested to see, because the dude got mic skills. The dude a beast. I can't even admit that. And it's like, this pay-per-view did one other thing that I want to say and I want to highlight for appreciate, of getting over a whole bunch of things. I'm like, SCU in that match with them Oriental wrestling dudes, like, yo, getting them over. That whole Joshi thing, whatever it was, because I don't quite understand what it was you could call it whatever you want, whether you want to call it a tribute to one of the greatest of all time, Menaja Kong, or whether you want to call it a showcase for the future of Joshi, dog. Dumb. That four-way that had Awesome Kong in it, really showcasing what All Elite Wrestling has to do with its women's division. Amazing. This was just a great pay-per-view. And I guess I can say this, you know what I'm saying? Insert wrestling talk and actual wrestling thing. Everybody got over. It's like there were some things that I looked at for a second, was kind of like, well, I don't know if I agree with that booking decision, but understanding that there are a lot of people who walked away with more wrestling knowledge about other styles of wrestling, other wrestling leagues and things of that nature, if we can use that word, because of All Elite. And Cody said it in that interview of the diversity that they are trying to bring to the table, and not trying to sit up here and highlight diversity as some PR stunt, but because we want to show you everything that wrestling has to offer from all over the world. And I really think that with All Elite doing this, I'm like, I really think that it's like, and they said it, that a true alternative to WWE, because for a long time TNA was that, and then they fell off, but they then since got back on. And I'm like, ROH done already been there, and I'm like, and I try to catch up on ROH when I can, and they do good stuff, but All Elite is gonna be that business, man. All Elite gonna be that business. It's just one of those things of right place, right time, and right what we need. And hearing the rumors that Vince is legitimately shook, bro. Yeah, you already know. If Vince shook, man, it's gonna be problems. Raw gonna be interesting tonight, because I'm gonna watch Raw just to hear the subliminals. If nothing else, I'm gonna tune into a wrestling show just to sit up here and hear the subliminals, cause it's gonna be subliminals, and you know Vinnie Mac gonna send folks out on the subliminal hunt. You already know. So wrestling fans now got something to tune into. And I'm going to say this too. I don't really think this is finna turn into Monday Night Wars round 2 or anything like that, because we don't need that. That is like when it was WWF versus WCW, at the time the professional wrestling business needed them to go at it. This 2019, there's room for everyone. And that's a great thing to say. That there is room for everyone and everybody to do their thing. Whether it's like, and I said the word earlier, disenfranchised. It's like you wonder about all these disenfranchised wrestlers who were unhappy because we saw the Perfect 10. He was part of that battle royal. You know what I'm saying? You got Pop doing this thing. It's like this is gonna be a place for real that those with true talent and not getting it over here in WWE, if they truly worth it, they got a place in AEW to do their thing. That there is no, because you got, honestly, for real, just from what you hear from wrestlers when they talk, is that WWE, once you get signed, it's like we talking about people who stayed on the roster, didn't wrestle for years and just collected a check. So it's like, if I can sit here and collect a check and not do nothing, why would I not do that? Why would I sit up here and go take less money or have to do something or do this and do that if I'm good where I'm at right here? You know what I'm saying? On that note. But those who truly want to still wrestle, who still want to do stuff and they're stuck in that WWE cycle, you got a choice now. But it's going to take some time to really see if All Elite can live up to the hype that it's bringing itself. And that's what I'm going to watch. I'm going to see, because this got promise. I don't care what nobody say. This got straight promise. And it's going to be wonderful to see that promise come to fruition. And I'm going to figure out how to cover AEW because I am interested in this. I'm still going to do my WWE thing. This still part of the Savage era. Don't worry about that. But it's going to be interesting to really see and how to try to keep up with this company as we got new pay-per-views and just stuff and just trying to figure out like where this company is going. Regardless of that, we have got plenty of more show for you and you and you and you and you, you and them and Nate. So please sit back, relax, and stay tuned. I'm of course the one and triple to G.O.D, flanked by the greatest squadron in the world, the congregation led by Squishy Murder and the crew. Bessie and Janine on the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s. I told you, man. Sit back, relax, and stay tuned. All of y'all, that's you and you and you and you and you. I pointed y'all out. Y'all go tell them and Nate that, yo, Uncle Triple and Team GRF, we are doing the thorough fizzle down here. We are doing that thing. So please, pretty please, we're going to take a commercial break. We've got plenty of more show for you. So please, just chill, baby. And like I said, we've got plenty of more show for you. Right after these commercial messages. One more thing before we get up out of here for real. Thank you, Dusty. I haven't had the opportunity. I'm someone who was a hard time daddy. And knowing that those hard times led to this resurgence in professional wrestling. Thank you, Dusty. Appreciate everything that you've done for this business and everything you've done to elevate it. Thank you, sir. AEW put on a wonderful show and your sons murdered the game. It is what it is. More show for all of y'all. Let me get that finger in there. More show for all of y'all. Get that finger in there. Right after these commercial messages.